It was Christmas Eve, and Jack and his girlfriend were throwing a small party at their cozy little house in the suburbs. They had decorated the living room with twinkling lights and a beautifully decorated tree, and had set out a spread of delicious holiday treats for their guests. As the night wore on, a fierce storm began to rage outside, with howling winds and sheets of rain battering against the windows. Despite the tumultuous weather, Jack and his girlfriend were having a great time, laughing and chatting with their friends as they enjoyed the festive atmosphere. But as the party started to wind down and the guests began to leave, Jack started to feel uneasy. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching him, a sinister presence lurking in the shadows. As the last of their friends said their goodbyes and closed the front door behind them, Jack's girlfriend went to turn off the lights. But as she did, she let out a blood-curdling scream. The living room was filled with a thick, swirling mist, and in the center of it stood a ghostly figure. It was a woman, her pale skin stretched tight over her bones and her long, stringy hair hanging in tangled clumps around her face. She hissed and lunged at Jack, her fingers clawing at the air. Jack's girlfriend grabbed his hand and pulled him towards the door, but it was too late. The ghost was upon them, dragging them both down into the darkness. They stumbled and fell, their screams echoing through the empty house as they were dragged deeper and deeper into the depths of the storm. The wind howled and the rain pounded against the windows, drowning out the sound of their terror. As Jack and his girlfriend tried to escape, they felt the ghost's icy touch on their skin, a chill that seemed to seep into their bones. They ran through the house, their footsteps echoing on the hardwood floors as they frantically searched for a way out. But no matter where they turned, the ghost seemed to be one step ahead of them, always just out of reach. They could hear its hissing laughter, a sound that sent shivers down their spines. Finally, they stumbled upon an old, creaky door that led to the basement. They knew it was a risky move, but they had no other choice. They had to take their chances and hope that they could find a way out through the storm-soaked streets. They made their way down the winding, narrow staircase, their hands shaking as they fumbled for the light switch. When they finally found it, they were greeted by a sight that made them gasp in horror. The basement was filled with old, rusted tools and discarded furniture, but it was the ghostly figure that stood in the corner that made their blood run cold. It was a man, his face twisted into a grotesque mask of hatred and anger. He hissed and lunged at them, his hands outstretched as if to grab them and pull them into the darkness. Jack and his girlfriend screamed and ran back up the stairs, their hearts pounding in their chests. They burst out of the house and into the storm, the rain and wind lashing against their faces as they ran for their lives. They stumbled and fell, their clothes soaked through and their teeth chattering with cold. But they didn't stop, not until they reached the safety of a nearby police station. As Jack and his girlfriend collapsed on the floor of the police station, panting and gasping for air, he couldn't shake the feeling that he had just died on Christmas Day, even though he was alive. He looked at his girlfriend, tears streaming down her face, and he knew that they had both come close to losing everything that night.